That's how we get it started.
Rubbing that left nipple.
That's how you test the cameras.
Yeah.
That's how the professionals do it.
Okay, well now, welcome to
now
another
we're really
episode.
getting started.
Yeah.
You don't even know what you just missed.
Yeah, you have no idea. It's not going to be in it.
It was quite a scene.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. All right, well, this is another episode of the Full Body Podcast. Got very funny comedian Yatt Maari. Matt Yaari across the couch from me, baby.
Thank
Hell
you. Yes,
yeah.
I'm Matt Yaari.
Yeah, Yatt Maari. No.
My evil twin Yatt Maari couldn't make it. Sorry. It's kind of like a Mario Wario kind of a situation.
Yeah. He's tall and skinny.
Yeah, exactly. He has the hair on the top of his
head. Right.
And a shaved face.
Yeah.
That's how you know.
All right, well, have you watched any? You haven't watched like the other episodes, right? Have you?
No, I did not.
Okay, yeah.
No.
I mean, I'm kind of glad.
You're glad I'm
good thing.
I don't have that much time.
Yeah.
And if I did, I probably still wouldn't watch it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's fine.
Yeah.
No offense.
Yeah, sorry. Shout out Joseph Naiman and the P-Boys. I never watch those episodes. I feel like he gets sad about it, but
that's all right. I just started watching. Actually.
Yeah.
It's like it's like watching film.
Yeah.
Or taping your sets.
Mm-hmm. Because I feel weird about watching my sets. I don't.
It's weird. It's another thing you have to get desensitized to.
Ugh. Especially like, obviously I don't mind watching me like do well. Like if I killed it, great.
Then
but
you get to watch that bit crush. I can rewatch it 30 times.
Yeah, I feel great. But watching bombs.
Okay, one more time. Let me just watch.
Yeah, that was me last night. Yeah. But watching bombs is terrible. But got some questions I wrote down for you.
Do you? Okay,
yeah,
I'm
got
excited.
Some questions.
Yeah.
All right. First question.
Yes.
If you could, would you overthrow the government? If you could, if you had the capability to do it.
I really, really, really want to say yes.
Yeah.
I really want to say yes. I would need to know maybe a little bit more information.
Like you're going to take over.
Me personally?
Yes, you. Yeah, you're going to take over.
Terrifying.
Yeah, you're going to lead.
Let me ask you this. Can I recruit whoever I want to set the new world order?
Yeah, they don't have a choice. I mean,
I'm the king of the world.
You're the guy. Yeah.
Oof. I really want to say yes, but if I'm going to be honest, I don't know that I truly know enough to be like, okay, this is how we're going to do it now, and it's going to work out better.
Mm-hmm.
I have some ideas.
Yeah. What are those ideas? You got?
Well, I don't think we really need like national governments at all. I actually think that every country is a problem.
Yeah?
Yes, when you have
no matter how big or small they're.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the ideal way to live for human beings is in small communities.
Okay, I mean,
literally, I think if everybody
too.
lived in like a small farming town, basically, then everybody would be so much happier and healthier. And we don't need there's no reason for me and like people in us. Let's say us and people in fucking California.
Yeah.
Like, why are we under the same umbrella of a leadership?
Yeah, because, I mean, America is so big, it seems like it's so hard. It's so difficult. I mean, that's why it is the shit show that it is, because it's so much, it's so much to manage.
Well, this also, I mean, a lot of people say that this isn't really what America was ever supposed to be, right? It was supposed to be really the states. So you're more of like a Michigander, not an American. And the American government was just kind of like, it just had a very limited role.
Yeah.
Right? It kind of like unifying, I guess, in only very specific things where they might need to. But now the whole game has become who's the president of the United States. It's about America as a country, and the states are almost a second thought, whereas it should have been the other way. Because if it's states first, then you're more involved, and it's
it's more localized.
It's more localized. It's harder for them
sense.
to get away with shit and cover things up and do fucking shady ass shit. And and start wars and things
Yeah.
like that.
Because then, also, I don't know if it was more state focused, I feel like we would all benefit, and not to mention because you've driven to like Ohio, right?
I have,
Yeah, and like it feels like the moment you get into Ohio, the roads are just completely smooth, and it's like they still get winter there, and it's like it feels like I don't know the shit that we do here, like the just the road specifically, they'll like give us like they'll just build it with shitty materials, specifically like in
Here?
Michigan, to like perpetuate jobs. And
I
I'm
think
like, that's
part
fucking
of it
insane.
is my understanding.
Mhm.
Ohio has toll roads.
Right,
So
because
have
you
to
can
pay
drive
the
through
toll,
it.
and
Yeah,
then that is what maintains
the roads. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because there's no driving through. There's nowhere to go.
Right, you're not driving through Michigan.
Yeah,
You're
there's
Michigan's
nowhere
the
to go.
destination.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. I think I have heard that too. Yeah, it's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
But I also heard I don't know. But yeah, fuck it. Let's overthrow the government, dude. I guess that's just that was the whole point.
I
Of that
like
question.
the idea,
Yeah.
or it's not even about overthrowing it. I think it's again more so about just distancing yourself from it and just almost acting like it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
The only reason they have authority is because we believe they have authority.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we consent to their authority.
Yeah, because also, I feel like just human nature. We need somebody. We need like a leader. You know, we need to feel like we have somebody.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, but you should have a community leader.
Yes. Yeah. Something.
Somebody you can actually talk to and
Right.
Be like, hey, there's a problem.
Right.
Over here.
Right.
These
Right.
roads
Right.
suck.
Yeah.
And not a leader who'd be like, yeah, we need to, start a war on the other side of the world.
Yeah. Exactly. And it was like, okay, wait, why are we going there? Why are we here? Oh, for freedom? Oh, they don't like our freedom. Okay, I guess we'll go and murder them. Yeah, but turns out they have a bunch of oil. That's what it. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Yeah. They hate us for our freedom, so we're gonna go murder them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
just
yeah.
take away their freedom to live.
Mhm.
That's logical.
Yeah. They don't believe in democracy, dude. They don't like. They hate our democracy.
Yeah.
The only problem I guess I have with like us, if we were all to like break down into these smaller communities, I feel like it would exacerbate like the whole us versus them like issue that we kind of have. Like, because I feel like as shitty as like the internet is for like communicating and stuff, I feel like we have gotten to know things about like like places and people that we wouldn't have before,
Mhm.
and it humanizes them, in a way. Because I feel like if we were all just in these small little communities, we'd be like, oh, who are like how like I don't. Did you ever watch Chimp Empire on Netflix?
I do not.
They were
I didn't know that was a thing.
the chimps, their community, their like
Mhm.
their tribe or whatever,
Troop or
their
whatever.
troop. Yeah, they were really caring and loving towards each other.
Uh-huh.
But then, as soon as it came to literally like chimps, like
The
a
next
mile
tree over?
yeah, literally the next tree over, they're like,
Yeah.
we have to murder them. They're gonna take our resources or
Uh-huh.
whatever. And it was like, I don't know. I feel like like maybe having a smaller, like centralized government would be good, but also like still being able to like communicate, because I feel like just humans, we want to fucking go to war, and we're like, we fear what we don't understand, and
Yeah, look,
fuck
I mean,
people
I
up.
don't necessarily have all the details worked out.
Yeah, I know it's a
certainly,
question I just kind of sprung on.
No, it's fair. I'm not saying it would be perfect, and it's not like people didn't used to have farming communities.
Yeah.
But even then, there was still, kings and empires, and,
Yeah.
and I guess there is this, instinct to conquer that
Mhm.
people would have. For me, when I think about it, the biggest flaw that I think about is how do you prevent like a Genghis Khan
Right.
from just coming around like, all right, well, we're way better at killing people, so
Yeah, so we're
just
gonna
going to
do that.
come in and
Yeah.
murder you guys and rape all your women.
Sounds
and you
pretty
can't
sick.
really do anything about it.
Yeah.
So I'm not entirely. I mean, I guess neighboring communities would have to have some kind of a system and an
Mm-hmm.
understanding where it's like, they have a business relationship.
Yeah.
And I mean, at this point, we're talking about 2025. Let's say we did revert to like farming communities. I'm
Yeah.
not saying we would just throw all technology in
Right.
the garbage.
Yeah.
But I do think that if our society was more based around like growing your food locally,
Mhm.
and then everything being built up upon that, right?
Yeah.
So your local farmers is really forms the basis. Like they feed everybody, and
Yeah.
they feed everybody with like local organic shit. We're not importing stuff from around the world, and all farms spraying all kinds of bullshit, right? It doesn't mean everybody needs to be a farmer,
Mhm.
but it's like,
They should definitely be more important than they are.
let's put it this way: what today? What is the like basis of our society or our communities? Like what forms the bedrock?
Of America?
Yes, in your typical here in Troy, Michigan.
The bedrock of Troy, Michigan. I don't really.
We don't really have one,
No, there's like no.
right? You did like
yeah,
the
there's no,
difference
like,
between you and like the neighbors a street away that you've never talked to before.
Literally, no, for real though.
Yeah,
Like they don't come out. Like my neighbors, like a lot of them, they don't come outside,
Right, them versus somebody who lives in fucking Florida, you have essentially the same relationship.
which is very it's
Isn't
very
that
true.
interesting?
Yeah, it's weird.
Um,
It's strange.
so it's like what unites us here? What, the fucking Detroit Lions? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's-
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah.
guess maybe that is why we love sports so much, because at least that's something that
Yeah,
unifies the community.
yeah,
And that's why people, especially, think about like down south, they love their high school football team because those are our boys.
yeah,
It's literally their kids.
yeah.
We don't really have that anymore,
No.
And it's almost like everyone's always talking about the fucking president.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Everybody has an opinion on the president, one way or the other.
yeah,
And that is almost what unites everybody in America, even if it is your neighbor down the street. But you and your neighbor down the street have like actual things in common.
mm-hmm.
It's like, shouldn't that be the thing that unites you?
Yeah, it's weird that I have more of a relationship with like, people at New Way Bar than literally somebody I've lived next door to for like, 16 years. I mean, yeah. I don't know. That's a good point. I've actually never really thought about that. Yeah, it's fucking weird how my community,
Yeah.
my literal community around me, I don't know.
Right, you don't know anything about
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And I think that's somewhat by design. It didn't used to be that way.
No.
Not at all.
No.
And I think we're missing that. And it's like the thing that, like, we kind of touched on it before, the thing that does unite us is this national government and what's going on in the fucking Middle East.
Yeah.
And all these, as far as I'm concerned, manufactured crises,
Yeah.
It
just also, it's weird too, because like it feels like, because I used to live in Hazel Park, and I was there till I was like 8, but that felt more like that my like neighborhood, because it's also not a very big city. It felt like just like the street that I lived on, everybody seemed like we all knew each other. We were all outside. I was going to my neighbor's house. There was a lot of kids running around all the time, and it was different than when we came to Troy, and it was weird because it was like there was nobody. There was like nobody outside. It was like the middle of the summer when we moved here, and there's no one outside. I don't know what it is, the difference between Troy. Maybe it's the money or something. I don't know, but like.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's especially kind of when you do get out into the burbs.
Mm-hmm.
It really depends where. But like when you go to places where the houses are bigger, the properties are bigger, everyone's farther away.
Yeah.
That's especially when you have more money. So I had kind of a similar thing growing up. I grew up in Oak Park.
Okay. Yeah.
Until I was in kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
And then we moved out to West Bloomfield. And one of the big differences is the neighborhood I grew up in when I was in Oak Park had sidewalks. So the kids would always be playing on the sidewalks. Right. And then in West Bloomfield, there was no sidewalk.
Huh.
So there was no, like that, the sidewalk was the place where kids could play outside of the streets. We didn't have that in the new neighborhood.
And it connected the houses. You could just walk down. You didn't want to walk on somebody's lawn.
There's kids down there, drawing chalk on the sidewalk. You'd riding their bikes and stuff.
Yeah. And
we really had that in that first neighborhood. And the second neighborhood, there were certain side streets, but even then, I had some friends that we had already known. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought. Like, the next street over, even if they were doing that, I had no idea. I would have no idea. But I knew a couple of kids on this street, and we would play there. But, yeah, it is interesting. I think it just feeds into there's a lot of different ways that people are very disconnected from each other today.
Yeah, and it feels like there was like less kids. You know, when I moved to Troy, it felt like there was just less kids around that I could just go and play with. Maybe because it's more spread out. It's a bigger neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think, I don't know, is it also possible that kids just spend less time outside? I'm sure they do. I mean, when I was a kid, and I think about that first house,
Yeah.
not only was it the sidewalk, now that we're working through this again, we didn't really have video games and computer games yet. You know?
Yeah.
It wasn't really a thing.
Yeah.
We kind of had the first couple of, like, not even Super Nintendos, like just Nintendo.
Yeah.
You don't even remember that shit.
No.
No chance.
No chance.
What was the first video game console that you like remember playing and like people having?
My
GameCube and Xbox.
My cousin had a PS2, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty sick."
Okay.
Yeah. But I wasn't at that time. I was like, I didn't really get interested in video games until like 6th grade. I wasn't like super like we played them. Like I played it in elementary school, but I also didn't get my first console till like 6th grade. So I wasn't. So
And
like
what
when I
was
was like
that?
11. Yeah.
What was your console?
It was an Xbox 360. Yeah.
See?
It was
Okay.
fun.
Our first was a Super Nintendo, which was what, 2 consoles before the GameCube.
Yeah.
Right. So the GameCube and the Xbox came out at the same time. So Xbox 360 wasn't the same generation as the Nintendo Wii, I think.
Yes, I believe. Is it? Is it the 360? No, I think the 360 came out or the Wii came out before the 360. It doesn't really matter, but I think it was around the same time.
I'm not a gamer at all,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I am not the one to be, really nailing this down. But
And I think I think why it felt like there was less kids too is because they were probably inside playing video games, and in Hazel Park nobody had, like, we were a lot poorer there. Like I don't think a lot of people had like video game consoles and like shit to like. And if they did, their parents were probably using, or whatever, or just I don't know. It was just different. It was like a stark contrast. And it also felt like kids were weirder here. It felt like, I don't know.
kids were weirder.
Yeah, they were
more
like stranger.
socially awkward.
Yeah, they were more socially
Yeah,
awkward,
'cause
more
they fucking
like
grew up on video games.
Yeah.
And they didn't play outside.
yeah. It was strange.
Really builds character.
Yeah.
And once my brother's a teacher, he said kids these days are like cats.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of like look at you.
Yeah.
They don't really. They don't know how to engage.
Mm-hmm. But once we started getting boners, we stopped really playing a lot of video. We still played video games, but it was less, and we were trying to go outside and like kiss girls and shit. Like it was like, once like 8th grade hit, wasn't as we were going outside a lot more. It was weird.
Around here?
Yeah.
Just looking for girls to kiss?
Yeah, well, we would like, we weren't allowed to like, we would have to hang out with these girls. It'd have to be like outside. We couldn't like go over to their houses and shit. Like we
rules
could
on
if
it.
it was like in the backyard. Their parents were there. We were like swimming or whatever. But usually we'd just ride bikes around with these girls and shit.
Just on the prowl.
Just on the prowl, dude, looking for
there
girls,
you go.
dude.
Fucking bikers.
Yeah,
Okay.
biker gang.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Except my house, my parents were pretty cool about people coming over and stuff. So this was the place
Gabe
to be.
brought over a girl.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I did what? So I had this girlfriend, as much as you could have a girlfriend in like 5th grade.
Okay.
And then she moved. She had to go because they came here from Brazil because her mom was like an engineer.
All right, dating a Brazilian girl.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fucking hot.
It was pretty cool. But then they had to move back because her mom got transferred back or whatever the fuck happened.
Was that your first kiss?
Yeah, it was my first kiss. It was pretty sick. But then like a couple of years later, their parents came back to America, got in contact with us, and asked if the girls could like stay with us like next winter break for them, but which would be our summer break. So because whatever school that they were at, they would get a whole month off for winter break.
Okay.
So they came and stayed with us. These two So when I was like 14, these two Brazilian girls were right here in this basement.
Right
dude.
here?
Yeah.
Right here on this couch?
Yeah. And then that's how I lost my virginity.
Hey, there
Yeah.
you go. Wait, so when is it? What, freshman year?
Freshman year of high school, yeah.
Damn, look
Yeah.
at you. Okay.
Yeah, but then nothing all throughout high school until I graduated. That the summer that I graduated, I got pussy again. So
Good for you.
I don't know what happened throughout high school, but I couldn't do it. I'm surprised I have a girlfriend right now. I don't know.
You're surprised?
I don't know how it happened.
How did you meet your girlfriend you're with now?
Through just like friends. I threw a party and she came over, and we kind of just hit it off from there. It's cool.
That's nice. How long have you guys been together?
It'll be 2 years in July, so I don't know what.
Almost a year and a half.
Yeah, like a year and a half.
Yeah,
5 months,
something
like that.
No, more than a year and a half.
More than I don't fucking know, but yeah.
Yeah, well, we're in February, and in July, that's 5 months away.
Yeah.
Well, a year and a half.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know. That was a tangent that we just went on. I have another question. I've got more questions.
What you got for me?
Do you believe in the hollow Earth theory? You believe in that?
Well, this is a hollow Earth right here. So
yes, it's not solid. Yeah.
Do I believe in hollow Earth? I'm not gonna say I believe in it.
I think it's cool.
I do believe that that there's some funky shit going on with the Earth.
Dude, we don't know shit about like the fucking inside of Earth. Like,
yeah,
we barely know fucking anything. Cause like,
yeah, that's an interesting thing. We really have no. It's purely speculation. They say it's a molten core that's
right?
Spinning really fast.
Yeah.
Although I've heard that, I don't know, again, I'm not a scientist, that they say that the spinning molten core is what creates the magnetic field, and that protects the planet.
From
right?
like the radiation?
From, I don't know, like radiation.
Something?
I think so.
Yeah. Protects our planet.
Whatever. It's either radiation or like fucking particles and shit. But I've also heard that molten metal does not create a magnetic field when it's spinning. So that idea is
yeah,
impossible.
a little. I also, scientists sometimes piss me off about how confident they are until they're like, until they've like, oh, we discovered something new and actually we were completely wrong about this other thing and it's now this new thing. I'm like, but you guys, if anybody even questioned that other thing, you would have been like, you're a fucking idiot. You don't.
Yeah, the thing that pisses me off, I don't know if it's, well, I guess it is how confident, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's that they're the dismissal of opposing perspectives.
Right. Just complete and outright dismissal.
And on a lot of different things that are put out there as science. And you hear other people who have other perspectives, and they seem to be poking very legitimate holes in, the prevailing ideas that are taught in schools and basically form the bedrock of everything else. And then you look at some other things where they say this is proven science, and you look at the proof that is put forth that forms the basis of it, and it's a lot of these things are just made up, actually.
Yeah, like
one of them is dark matter. Everyone talks about dark matter.
Yeah.
And apparently there's a bunch of scientists who have very conclusively proven that dark matter does not exist. But most physicists are still working on how to include it in their understanding of the universe and how it all works. And
dark matter is the way I always it's just the shit in between the stars, right? That black stuff. But it's like, what is? But
yeah,
I mean,
well,
it doesn't
there's not
have
supposed to be anything there, right?
Right.
It's supposed to be if space is just a vacuum.
It's a vacuum. That's why you can't scream.
But then there's others who are saying that, like, look, we actually our whole model of the universe is just fundamentally wrong, and dark matter was created
to like fill us.
Just to fill in the void as a space holder for a flawed model.
It's so, I mean, it does. What concerns me is like how little we know, and everybody understands that we don't really know that much fundamentally about the universe. But then, like, again, yeah, their scientists are just so cocky and confident about the things that they think that they know, and I'm like, well, but we also there's so much we don't know.
Yeah, there was one thing like. Now that we kind of are on the topic, I remember even in like 7th grade, we had a project about like the planets, and I remember finding a thing where it claimed like what the atmospheres of all these other planets were.
Right.
I'm like,
because of the probe, right, or something that they sent.
I don't even know if they sent I don't think we've sent probes to every planet.
Well, they did that
I
whole.
highly doubt it.
Also,
I don't think they've sent probes that are really actually capable of sending information back. I find that highly doubtful. Especially, okay, you think about it, you send a probe out to a planet that's extremely far away, and that planet, it's not like it landed in a place where it can cleanly send information back. And some of these planets are so huge, I don't know, how do we know that it didn't just get crushed as soon as it crash landed? I don't know. Do we build it strong enough?
So you're just kind of skeptical of just what
I'm very, very skeptical. Yes.
Yeah.
At this point, and I don't really want to be, but I'm just kind of there. You know? I'm one of those people who's like, I'm at the point now I don't really believe in anything, and I'm much more. I don't know. I don't know if I want to put this online, but I'm not even telling you don't cut it off. I'm more and more sympathetic to like the idea that we live on a flat Earth.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. And why? But what? I don't know. What's the point of lying about the shape of the Earth? You know, what's the point of?
The point is because if we live on this globe, and this globe is just a meaningless speck in this gigantic, expanding, nearly, it's not an infinite universe, but it's so big it may as well be, then what that fundamentally means is that your existence is meaningless, right? Whereas the flat Earth model, there's a lot of reasons. The flat Earth, number one, if the Earth is flat, then this is the center of the universe, and your existence is extremely meaningful because this whole place where we're walking around and doing all this was made very intentionally. Also, flat Earth can really only exist if a god created it, right? So the idea of the globe is, there was this big bang that happened by accident, and there's no creative force behind it. And then it just randomly turned into a planet, and that just randomly started to spark life. And you're just a product of this random meaninglessness.
Right.
But if it's flat, then this is a plane. And we are all the children of God, basically.
Okay.
And there's no other real explanation for how we got here if it is flat.
Right. But it could be, I mean, it could still be round. We could still be in a solar system. And I get that it seems like a lot of people were like this infinitesimal, insignificant speck, but what if it's like what if there's like life on all like stars, you know, throughout the galaxy or the universe? Because we've only recently discovered that there are planets that there's literally like, I don't know, so many planets that surround every star in our galaxy, and I think the universe itself. We've discovered that there's planets around all the stars, and there's like a lot within the habitable zone, the Goldilocks zone.
Yeah.
So
there are lots of other potential Earths.
Yeah.
Kind of what you're saying.
And which I don't think
I've heard of that, and that may or may not be true. I don't know. I get more and more skeptical of any claims about anything that's going on out in outer space.
All right.
Seriously, who's making these claims?
It's true. I don't know.
And
I have no idea.
What information are they really bringing to the table? I don't know. I'm not really claiming I'm bringing any information to the table. I just want to make that clear.
Yeah.
But
You think the propaganda is real strong?
oh yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it is. It is. We've seen
it
it in real
certainly is.
time.
Yeah, I mean, to the extent of the Earth being flat versus a globe.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm not 100%, but I'm more and more open to
Yeah.
flat Earth every day. I actually find it to be more empowering
Yeah.
because again, it just means you're not here accidentally. Here's the other sort of thought experiment that seems to demonstrate to me that it's more likely we live on a flat plane is simulation theory.
Okay.
Are you familiar with simulation
Yes.
theory?
Yeah.
This is the idea that this is a simulation.
Mm-hmm.
This is basically a video game, right?
Right.
So it's one big giant video game. Okay? So when you play a video game, is that video game character ever on a globe or are they on a flat plane?
Flat plane.
They're always on a flat plane.
Yeah.
Because
No Man's Sky, technically.
what's that?
No Man's Sky. It's like
What's
it's a giant simulated universe that you can
Mhm.
like fly to different planets and stuff.
Okay.
So, but it's still like to make the sphere. It's still a bunch of flat planes, but whatever. It doesn't matter.
The point is, whenever there's a character walking around on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
number one, there's no gravity there. I mean, it's all just computer code.
Yeah.
And it's just the only thing that is really in existence. Like, okay, so there's a video game right here.
Mm-hmm.
In this reality, this simulated reality, whatever's going on the TV right now is the only thing that's happening.
Yeah.
None of the rest of it exists.
Like it's all has to be loaded in once.
Right. The only aspect of this reality that exists is what's being shown on the TV by the characters right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, and there are ideas that's really kind of how our reality works.
Like outside that wall, like that way, it's nothing. And then once we walk out there, it'll load.
Wherever there's no life
Mm-hmm.
aware of the thing,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't actually exist.
Huh.
Matter
So the tree really doesn't make a sound.
Matter, yes. Matter only exists if there is conscious awareness of it.
Okay. But then, how does it know to generate? Like, let's say...
It's whenever something becomes aware of it, right? So it's like there's nobody in that room over there. So technically, it doesn't actually exist.
Okay.
But as soon as we open the curtain, that's when it comes into existence.
Right. That's like the Schrodinger's cat, right?
Kind of, yes.
Yeah.
And the tree falling in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very good.
Well, that's fucking weird to think about, because technically, you can't prove that that's not even true. That could be very well the case, because we're not looking at, we can't see that room.
Right.
So yeah, it might not exist right now, but there's no way to tell. Oh, that's fucking. I hate that. I don't
Isn't that
like
a mind fuck?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Well, if you think about for that room specifically, just to make you feel a little, there's probably a bunch of bacteria all over the place. So they count too. So all life forms are really participating in this.
Okay.
At least to some degree. And the thing is, and look, I'm not even claiming that I fully understand it or that any of this is necessarily true. I could be completely fucking wrong about every single thing I've said so far. And I acknowledge that. It's more just kind of exploring some of these ideas. But
nothing wrong with that either.
I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, then it becomes a problem. Like, okay, let's say, you bury something in the ground, and then it gets discovered hundreds of years later, and nobody's been aware of it for the last hundreds of years. So why was it still there for us to be aware of it now?
Yeah.
Like
a time capsule.
Yeah. So I'm not entirely sure. You know what the answer to that is? And then
Maybe it's just
well,
like data.
I think it is just like data. Yes.
Yeah, because then it's like it existed at one point, and it's not like it got burnt or like, it wasn't destroyed.
Yeah.
It's just like nobody's aware of it. So there's no point in having it being rendered like a video game. So it just doesn't exist until it's discovered again, and the data can be accessed, and then you see it.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Which is that's how a video game works too, right?
Yeah, that's exactly how a video game works.
Change in the video game.
It's just not graphically rendered if you're not looking at it to save data and to save frame rates, to save
so your
power.
Awareness is the thing that brings matter into existence. Translates it from data to this material existence.
Okay, all right, fuck this. We got more questions.
Hey, you asked me about fucking Hollow Earth, so we're gonna get into some goofy ass shit.
Yeah.
So if you talk about simulation and all that other shit, here's the other kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. If it's simulated, people say like, this is impossible, that's impossible. Anytime you talk about things, but if you made a video game, is anything impossible in that video game?
No.
No. So why are things so impossible here? You just haven't seen them.
Yeah.
So,
and it's also like we're not the main character probably if this is a simulation, right? Most of the time, I guess NPCs in video games, nothing really miraculous or special happens, right? Sometimes, I mean,
to the NPC? Or
to the NPC, yeah. But sometimes they're involved.
Sure, yeah, sometimes they're involved. And some people... Well, I think animals are more like the NPCs.
Yeah.
I think human beings... And this gets into, like, spiritual shit and religion and Bible and God and all that stuff, is that, like, human beings are a reflection of God. And so are animals, too. But we are, like, a higher expression of God. And...
Because
okay. So what that means is, we're all expressions of God, right? So we're all like, we're all like fingers,
Yeah.
It's like this finger might think that it is its own unique entity, but it's a part of Matt, right? Or like my liver cell,
right,
is its own individual living entity. If you tried to explain Matt to a liver cell, it wouldn't get it.
Yeah, you can't.
Right? Unless the liver cell next to it fucking read the Bible. It's like, actually, there's this larger, infinite thing.
That's what me and Matt are. We're just two liver cells.
We're just two liver cells of God in this little fuck dungeon down here.
Hell yeah, dude. Got some swords too, dude.
Yeah, where'd you get those swords from? Those are like legit swords?
No, those are foam swords. Those are replicas of the swords from The Witcher 3. It's a video game. And
simulation, huh?
Yes, simulation. Okay. It's simulation inside of a simulation.
Yeah.
And I just wore those to the Renaissance Festival. I pretended to be... I cosplayed, as they say, as Geralt of Rivia, who is the Witcher. But yeah.
Very cool.
And they're fun. They
look like fun.
But yet simulation theory is interesting too, because it's just like the way that video games are going too. Like, I mean, eventually they'll be so indistinguishable. I mean, there's a new video game that should be coming out in like the fall, GTA 6, right? And it's being hyped up a lot, but like usually the gameplay trailers from like the past GTAs have lined up with how the game actually looks. And so the GTA 6 trailer looks pretty wild. It's pretty insane. There's like there's like jiggle physics, right? So like people are walking and you can see their ass just like jiggle a little bit. And it's like I don't know why that's what came to my head of the most crazy. That's
you
not
know
the crazy.
Why it came to your head. You're just looking for
there was a strip club in
you're
the
looking for some Brazilian jiggle. That's what it is.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just wild. It's wild, and it's just the more if nothing happens to us, we just get more technologically advanced. Eventually, we're gonna create a video game that's just, probably the NPCs in the video game will feel alive, or they probably will be alive.
Yeah. Well, within the context of the video game, they'll be alive.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's probably what this existence is.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Yeah. So your soul is the living thing playing this video game.
I do watch a lot of like there's these conspiracy videos on like YouTube. It's called bedtime stories. I know how gay that sounds, but it's like they find these stories about people encountering different like things, different entities, aliens, whatever, what have you, government conspiracy things, and they'll like animate it. They won't like it'll just be like black and white still images that they'll like, you know, Ken Burns style across the screen and just give like the whole story about behind it and stuff, and it's really cool. There's some about glitches, like just like straight up like time travel. One time there was I don't know, it was a story about a guy who thought like who, you know, told all of his friends he claimed that he had cracked time travel, right? And it was like he created this time machine, and basically it was like this I don't really know what, but basically he got inside of like this barrel-looking thing, and that was, I don't know, he was supposed to be able to travel through time, and I think this was like, I want to say this was like in the 90s or something like that, and he went missing. Like he was telling all his friends, "Oh, I cracked time travel," and then he suddenly like vanished, never to be seen again, and apparently this was the theory of bedtime stories, but apparently they found a news article from the 50s about how they found this barrel on this beach with, like, I think it was just clothes that were, like, they'd never, like, it was, like, you know, fucking futuristic, like, shoes from, like, the 90s and, like, just clothes, like, his clothes. That were just like in this barrel on this beach that they found in the 50s. And it's just like stuff like that that's really interesting. They explain it, and they also talk about where they get the information from, so I don't really necessarily remember, but it's really cool, especially when you get high. There's one, sorry, I don't know to get into this, but there's another one.
Oh, I'm digging it.
Where they it was Neil Armstrong and like the guys who went to the moon. I feel like you don't believe that we went to the moon, but it was just talking about their story and just some of the weird things that got declassified later on that they weren't allowed to talk about. And apparently they were like setting up their gear to like do like tests or whatever on, you know, the moon's surface, and apparently they say back to Mission Control because they kept trying to set it up, and then it would just get like they would like go and do something. I think it would get like destroyed or whatever, and they tried to set up their instruments again, and they like talked back to Mission Control, and they're like, yes, like just do the tests of the soil, and Neil Armstrong and whoever the other guy was that he was with. There's Buzz Aldrin.
I forgot the third one.
The third guy. Nobody remembers the third guy. He wasn't allowed to leave the capsule.
Yeah.
The lunar capsule. But they said, this is what they quoted back to Mission Control. They're like, we'll set up the instruments again, but we're worried that the men on the ridge will just knock it over again. And that's and it was like, the fuck? What do you mean, men on the ridge? So it was just like weird stuff like that. And apparently another Apollo mission, they found literal dead cosmonauts with their fucking, like their spacesuits, like all fucked up, and the glass like fucking punched in, like something punched it in. It was weird. Like, yeah. Weird shit like that. Also, apparently...
Hold up. So,
sorry.
No, that's fine. So you said there were other Apollo missions. Does that mean the claim is we went to the moon more than once?
Yeah, I think we went like 13 times, right? Is the idea? We
went to the moon 13 times?
Yeah, all the Apollo missions. How many Apollo missions are there?
I don't think we went to the moon 13. It is claimed we've been to the moon 13 times?
Yes. How many times? I'll just look up how many.
I thought it was just the one.
Have been to the moon. Sorry, I exaggerated. It's 6 times, not 13 times.
They say we've been to the moon 6 times.
Yes, there was all Apollo 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, and 17.
What years were they?
So the first one was 1969.
69?
And then apparently we went again. So we went in July of 1969. Then we went again in November of 1969. Then February of 1971, July 1971, April 1972, and December 1972. And then never again.
So they claim we went to the moon 6 times between 1962 and 1969 and 72.
Yeah.
And we haven't been back.
Yep.
Yeah, that's retarded.
Yeah. It seems odd.
It does seem odd.
If we were able to do it back then, why don't we keep doing it?
It should be way easier now.
It should be so easy.
It should be much easier now, and we should be on Mars by now.
Yeah. Just the progression of technology from 1969 to now is insane.
Well, the other thing that, that I've sort of, one of my little thought experiments is the Wright brothers did their thing in like 1908.
Right.
Right. So from 1908 to 69, that's 60 years. We went from basically a hang glider that was in the air for like 8 seconds. And then in 60 years, we went from that to landing on the fucking moon. And then at this point, we are 55 years removed, 56 years removed from that. So it's basically about the same amount of time.
Yeah.
So why did we stop going in the early 70s? And why are we not visiting other galaxies by now if we had that kind of progression of technology?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
The whole idea, right, is that, now we beat the Russians, so there's no point, so let's just scrap. But that's insane. Do you know how much money
really
is in space?
We did all that just to beat the Russians.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sounds like some Cold War propaganda. If you ask
That's
me.
probably exactly what it is. Because it's also like there's so many precious minerals just in asteroids. Like, why don't we're not going to try to go and get that shit?
Yeah,
there's so much
just go
probably
start
money to be had doing that.
mining shit in other places. Yeah, send it back.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, we all saw Avatar, right?
Yeah,
Gotta
exactly.
Get that unobtainium.
Yes, unobtainium is crazy.
Right, it's all over Mars and Venus and shit.
Yeah.
So, and maybe there's some fucking freaky blue aliens over there.
Dude, hot, tall, blue aliens.
Yeah, even freakier than Brazilians.
Dude, and they don't even have
Allegedly.
pussies. We just fuck their hair thing, their weird hair.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, yeah, I'm really into. There's also there's bedtime. Shout out bedtime stories, I guess, on YouTube. They have a cool 3-part series about the mysteries. I think it's called The Mysteries of the Third Reich, and just how like Hitler was really into like UFOs. And there's this thing called the Glock, which is like the bell, and apparently he created this, or I don't know if he created or found it, but it's this bell-shaped, UFO type object. They were trying to figure out how it worked, and every time they turned it on, apparently everybody in the vicinity melted from like fucking radiation, and it was like it would like teleport and like
That's a good way to melt the Jews.
Yes, exactly. But it's interesting. I don't know.
Also, I'm Jewish, by the way.
Yes.
I'm allowed to say
Matt
that.
Yaari. Yeah. Okay. Well, this is more conspiracy stuff. But what do you think the New Jersey drones are? What the fuck is that? You think that's just like what is that?
Honestly,
shit?
haven't really looked into it too deeply.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a government thing.
It's certainly
gotta be,
certainly
because
some government shit.
The idea that they wouldn't be able to just shoot those down.
Well, they shot down the fucking stupid balloon, right?
The
or
Chinese
whatever.
spy balloon or whatever.
Spy balloon? Yeah.
Yeah, but after it was like floating around for days.
That's true.
I think a lot of these things are put out there as distractions. I
Yeah.
think that's probably what that was. There's people clearly freaking out about it, and they didn't do anything about it. And I don't know what was the official explanation for what it was.
I don't even know. Did they have an official explanation? Did Trump say so? I feel like he did. Maybe did he say something about it that they were ours?
I think from what I understand
even
from
remember.
some fucking podcast, and not even some, just like Joe Rogan, somebody
Yeah.
said that Trump said we don't know what they are.
Okay.
I don't think it was Joe Rogan. I
Yeah.
don't know, some whatever podcast. But that's not something that I really looked into too deeply. I don't really.
I heard they're like SUV size. They're like the size of a car, you know, and they would just be up in the air for hours.
I'm not surprised that the government could build an SUV-sized drone.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, anything that's like current events is some type of a psyop,
Okay.
if you will.
Yeah.
Some type of thing that they're
Do you think they're
putting out
just
there to fuck with us?
like testing our like how much we would have freaked out if we saw something like that, or just do you think they're trying to create some sort of black flag, some alien
False
black
flag?
Yeah, false flag. Yeah.
Well, that's been put out there for a while. Once you get super deep into Conspiracyville, a lot of those conspiracy scholars, I guess, if you will, the people who really explore that stuff, say that like one of the things that they are planning is an alien invasion.
Okay. Yeah.
Because ultimately,
because what would unite us the most?
The basis of conspiracies is that there's that power works like a pyramid. So the higher up you go, there's more and more layers of power. Like we think that the most powerful person is the president.
I don't think that. That's dumb.
The general societal understanding is that the president's the most powerful person in the country. But people are starting to understand more and more that there's way more powerful people beyond the president.
Yes.
And these people that are in these positions of power, ultimately, they want to just have complete power over the whole world, right? And
Why?
so, because they're basically they're psychopaths.
Yeah.
And it's also it's like they just want more. Like they were, first of all, they were born into it, right? It's not like it's just an ambitious
some guy. Hey,
you have to inherit it.
Yeah.
So this is like something that their families have been planning for a very long time. Actually, when you get into
Creepy
why,
as fuck.
it is creepy. When you get into why, that also brings a very spiritual aspect to it, because the only why that really makes any sense is that they are they worship Satan, and that all of reality is a battle between good and evil.
What's with that shit, by the way?
What shit?
Like the whole like celebrities and just like people with so much money and like power, they're all like fucking into like this weird culty Satanist shit. Like there was a documentary about this what do you call him? He was a stuntman. Stunt double.
Yeah.
And he got like he would get invited to like these Hollywood parties and shit, and he just talked about how like weird like a lot of the art that they had and shit, like just like straight up just literally like a sculpture of the devil, like just some dude with like horns and like goat feet and just like weird shit like that.
Yeah, that's what they say. That this whole reality is. I was talking to another comic, Matt Wolf. That basically reality is a giant chess match between God and Satan.
Huh.
We are all like the chess pieces, so it's like we're all united.
Right.
You know, I did the liver cell thing. So if you decide to be a good person, behave, out of love and treat others, do good deeds, right, that you're doing the bidding of God. And if you decide to be a piece of shit and abuse other people and perpetuate pain and suffering, you have been captured by Satan, right?
Right. And I don't know. I understand why people would want to be good, right? It feels good. It's good to be good, and also the idea, I guess, a lot of religious people, heaven, right?
Yeah.
I don't understand Satanists fucking at all. What you get to hang out in hell and have a good time? I don't. What's
well,
the
if you think
reward?
about it, the reward is more immediate, right? So you think about there's all these weird.
Yeah.
You talk about selling your soul to the devil,
Right.
where it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
I want to be a billionaire. I want to
Yeah.
be a worldwide famous celebrity. Well, You have to get fucked in the ass by P. Diddy. And then you have to fuck a bunch of kids and then hate yourself and know that you're a gigantic piece of shit, but you're a famous billionaire. So you get what you think you wanted now,
right?
But you sold your soul and you've caused all this pain. And then you hate yourself, so the rest of your life is just painful and miserable.
And that's hell, huh?
Yeah.
That sounds like hell.
That's, again, other people say that heaven and hell is just the life that you live right now.
Right.
Like, do you love your life? Do you treat yourself with kindness and respect?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's heaven. And that's, when you allow God into your life and you do it correctly. And if you live a shitty life, if you're an addict, if you don't confront your pain and...
There was
No, go for it.
There's a really interesting book kind of like that.
What's it called?
It's my English teacher back in high school. He told me about it. I don't fucking remember the name. But basically, like, the idea is, like, when you die, you don't go to heaven or hell, really. You go to, like, or you either go to heaven or hell, right? But when you're in hell, you can just leave. You can leave whenever you want. Doesn't matter. But the catch is that people, like, a lot of people don't leave because they lived in hell their whole life, right? So they're just like,
what they're used to.
That's what they're used to. That's what they're comfortable with, and they're like, I don't feel like it. But it's right there. You can just go to heaven right now. But it's like, they're like lazy or whatever. You know,
that's one perspective. Well, I mean, people kind of do that in their living lives, anyways.
Yes.
Especially if you think about, if you're a drug addict or if you. Just treat people poorly. Usually it's because you have some kind of inner fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Probably started in childhood. It's probably a product of something that happened to you because from somebody else it's fucked up. And, they say hurt people, right?
Yes.
So.
Which is true.
It's very true. And if you are someone who's able to confront that and heal from it, then... you're coming that much closer to God and all that good stuff.
And are you religious? Do you not like?
I wouldn't call myself religious.
Spiritual?
Yeah. It's funny. I used to think that was so silly. It's like, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. But I guess I'm one of those fucks.
Yeah, you're a spiritual guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always been very kind of curious about, obviously, like, what the fuck is this reality?
Right.
And I have had some very interesting experiences that lead me to believe very strongly that this world is not simply material. Like, it's not just a bunch of molecules bouncing around doing shit.
Interacting with each other.
Yeah, there is some metaphysical layer to reality.
DMT? Did you take DMT?
I did do DMT, and one of the things that... And this was before I really got into simulation theory or really understood what the fuck that even means. So when I smoked DMT, it's a very... it's just crazy. You can't really put it into words what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
And I still don't really... I can't put it into words. But one of the thoughts I remember having while my soul was just shooting around the universe. That's really all. The only way I could explain is my soul was shooting around the universe.
Whoa.
I was not in my body.
Yeah.
And one of the few thoughts that I remember having was, "It's a simulation."
Oh, God.
Yeah. Right. And then I remember coming back down into my body and seeing people. And from that perspective, everybody looked like this, meat robot monster kind of a thing.
Ugh.
I don't know how to do right now. It's I guess you look like a person with a face.
Yeah.
But imagine if someone was like
a cyborg.
No, almost more like if Sasquatch was made out of mud. That's kind of what it looked like.
Ooh.
Just a sloppy, meaty shell, and that's what your body is. Just this
Dude, that shit freaks me out the most.
Sloppy, meaty shell. What?
I took mushrooms with Kevin Rodriguez. And
Okay.
and we went to the zoo on a Monday. It was the weirdest. It was the weirdest experience probably my whole life. But I remember going to the bathroom, high as shit on mushrooms, looking at myself in the mirror. My face is like all like weird. It scared me at first, but then I kind of just leaned into it. I was like, oh, this is kind of fucking cool. I was like, whoa, blah, blah, blah. But then I remember going to take a piss, and just the stank of my, because it was the summertime, so it was like my stank of my sweaty dick hit me in my face, and I was like, damn, I'm just like in a stinky meat body, and like I can't get over that idea. And I'm just like a weird, just bony, meaty body.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Especially like my first couple times doing shrooms.
Yeah,
it's almost like your consciousness is rediscovering your body for the first time, right? Like I remember the first time I did shrooms, and when I farted, I laughed my ass off. I was like, ah! The body does that, and it just goes. Right, it was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
The way I explained it to a friend is it feels like your consciousness, like the consciousness of a mushroom, is like discovering how your body works.
Okay, yeah.
And your consciousness as a human like merges with the mushroom.
Freaky, dude.
Yeah. And then every time I've done mushrooms since, I feel like it's gotten like progressively less intense. I've still had some pretty great mushroom trips, but it's not like the first couple of times.
When I was at the zoo, and I just felt like a lot more like empathic towards like other people. I felt like I was feeling their feelings. Like there was a lot of like I don't know, like special needs people there at a zoo on Monday. It was I don't know.
Yeah,
there was a lot of and I just felt like.
Speaking of special needs, have you seen the telepathy tapes or heard about them?
No.
Okay, well, keep telling it, and then let's get back to telepathy tapes.
Telepathy tapes. Okay, but I was just like, there was a guy. Before we took the mushrooms, he was clearly, you could see that he was special needs, and he was like walking into the zoo by himself, and I'm like, already that's so sad. And then as we were high, like I saw him again, and he was like trying to like talk to people, and they were like ignoring him, and I was like, fuck, what a fucking life that would be. Jeez.
Yeah, it's tough.
But yeah, and I had to like try to forget about it, because it really made my heart like heavy. I was like, Jesus.
Did you go talk to him?
No, I didn't
have that much empathy.
I didn't have that much empathy, because but it's also like
someone should treat that person with some dignity and respect.
Not me.
You guys are fucking assholes.
I was also like, I think I was
high on shrooms.
I was way too high to even like try to like probably talk to him. Like I couldn't even
you
talk to Kevin.
You would have gone talk to
really.
him, he'd be like, "This guy's fucking retarded." This guy.
Exactly.
Someone get this special needs fuck away from me. Trying to make friends.
But yeah, sorry. The telepathy tapes.
Telepathy tape. Yeah, it's a thing that came out fairly recently. It's like a series of podcasts.
Okay.
Where they ran a bunch of tests on these kids.
Yeah.
That are like highly autistic, like non-communicative, or like barely communicative.
Okay.
And they demonstrated have some like pretty insane demonstrations that they are telepathic.
Okay.
Like they can read your thoughts.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And is it... Hold on. I'm going to save this. But anyways, you think it's the autistic kids... Because you know how, like, a lot of, like, really autistic kids are, like, good at math or, like, good at, you know, maybe playing the piano or something. They can just understand it and read it. Do you think they're able to, like, understand and read, like, the micro expressions that people have to be able to, like...
Well, it's things where, like, they're in a completely separate room.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay,
like
never mind.
Yeah. The micro expressions, it's almost like, okay, you're faking that. Like, they went to great lengths to, like, there's no transfer of information
right.
in the, traditional sense.
Yeah, okay. That's fucking crazy.
It is pretty crazy. I think the explanation that seems to make sense to me is like, you think about your soul, their consciousness is like trapped in this body.
Yeah.
And the body is just simply not able to function how a normal body functions. So
Full body.
exactly. And so because of that, it just finds another way to like gather information or express itself and like be aware of its surroundings. The other thing is, there are those who believe that is actually like one of our natural abilities.
To be able to...
Like babies are probably telepathic. They just can't express it. And we lose it probably because of the way we raise our kids.
Right.
And
the way we are.
Vaccines.
I mean...
Potentially.
Vaccines scare me a little bit.
They should.
Yeah, it seems a little strange. Just the sheer amount of that we're just blasting away into our bodies seems a little excessive, and seems like it's like even if you talk about this, you're like, oh, you're a crazy person. You're a crazy person to you're a vaccine denier. I can't even question it. But it's like we all agree that these pharmaceutical companies are greedy bastards, right? Like, we all know this, but then as soon as COVID happened, we were like, nope, we have to defend them. They are the truth tellers.
When people are afraid, they're easy to manipulate.
Right, that's true.
The easiest way to manipulate someone is get them afraid of something, and then you give them the solution to their thing. And then it's the people who weren't afraid of COVID were the ones who were the least likely to.
But it's just like, the motherfuckers who were making this shit are the ones responsible for the opioid epidemic. They're the ones who have killed thousands of people, and it's like, well, why are we just like, but forget about that.
People,
that's different.
Human beings are really good at rationalizing and explaining and justifying the things that they believe.
Yeah.
And people are also really good at holding contradictory beliefs, but not really. It's cognitive dissonance.
Yes.
Cognitive dissonance. It's like
these
two things are not compatible, but you're not even going to acknowledge that they're not compatible, but you're still holding on to these two things. Or you're just going to dismiss it, And there's so many things. It's easier to pretend that... It's easier to just stick with this one idea because you're so... it's so important to you in a certain way that you won't even consider the possibility that it's wrong.
Which is weird, why people are so attached to ideas that they have. Strange.
Yeah. Well, it's part of the human condition.
Yeah. I mean, because if I get questioned, like if I say something that I think is correct and somebody's like questions me, I'm like, I get mad. I'm like, I don't even know why I get mad.
Because I'm challenging your entire concept of the world.
Yeah. It's like, how dare you?
It's kind of like, remember that conversation that we had at New Way? And you were saying, you were calling yourself dumb.
Yeah.
I was like, who says you're dumb? You're like, well, something happened in school. I was like, that was just an idea that you had held on to. And...
it's hard to let go of that shit.
It is hard to, because you've reinforced it for years.
Yeah.
You have layers, and that's another way that it works. You layer on top of it justifications.
Yeah.
There's the belief that caused the justification, right? It's not that the justification is evidence for the belief.
Yeah.
But that's how we kind of see it. And it takes time, I had a fuck ton of those kind of things that I was holding on to, and I still have a lot of them.
Me too.
1,000% sure. But they're so fundamental to how the way that you operate that you don't even think that this is an idea that can be changed unless you go through a very intentional process of like examining everything you believe.
And sorry, this is not related to what we're talking about. It's actually back to the telepathy thing. I just wanted to say.
Sure.
How you're talking about, like, it's like an innate thing that we're like born with. And I kind of feel like that is true because if you look at like the way that like wolves will like communicate, like they don't communicate with like words or anything like that, or like even like howls. That's just kind of to get like a head count or to like figure out where they are. But like when they're like hunting, they'll like move within stride and like move at the same time or break off and then come back together. And it's like, how do they know to do that? How are they communicating to each other to do that? How do they? It's just like
that's very interesting. Are they doing it telepathically?
Who
Potentially.
knows? Yeah.
It could also just be that they've spent their entire fucking lives together.
Yeah.
And they just
kind of know.
Yeah, they just kind of know almost through repetition.
Right, like twins or whatever.
Yeah.
In a way.
Of. But even like, I don't know if you play a lot of sports, but if you play sports with, especially if like you play with a particular teammate for a very long time,
kind of anticipate.
Like you guys just know what the other one is. You can just get synced up like that.
Weird.
Here's another very weird experience that I had when I was in high school, and I haven't told a lot of people, but so me and my brother growing up, we were obsessed with basketball,
right?
And we went to Hillel Day School, a private Jewish school.
Yeah.
And everybody was all the boys that mattered, at least.
Right.
They were even kind of cool. The basketball team was everything. Making the basketball team was like is what you lived for.
Yeah.
And me and my brother, we shared a room together for a very, very long time. And so I think as kids, we were definitely synced up in that kind of way. And one of the ways I know that is I remember when he had his 8th grade basketball tryouts, and I was at like a friend's house.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, I just knew he didn't make the team.
Really?
Yeah. I just instantly, like, I could feel his pain. Like, I felt his heartbreak from, like, a couple miles away. I was like, oh, fuck, he didn't make it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I just knew.
Yeah.
And I came home and he didn't. And going into it, I was very confident that he would.
Yeah.
So, and that was...
I'm trying to think if I had anything similar, but I don't think so.
I think that's like the first sort of like metaphysical experience.
Yeah.
That I can remember, at least. I'm sure as a kid, especially like very, very early in childhood, I'm sure you have a lot of them.
Yeah, you
just don't remember.
I don't know if I remember. I'm sure something, because honestly, what I do think too is like you don't really forget anything. You kind of just need the key to like unlock that memory.
Yeah, I've heard
so
that
I'm sure
before.
that will happen at some point.
Yeah, some people call it the Akashic records.
Yeah,
everything that happens basically gets stored somewhere.
Because I'll just be like eating, and then like a sound or something I see or something happens, and then I'll just have like it'll spark a random
flashback
memory that I had a long time ago, and I was like, whoa, it's weird.
It is weird.
I also get deja vu a lot.
Do you?
Like a lot.
I haven't gotten deja vu in a while.
I get it probably get it like once every like 2 weeks. I'll get like a deja vu moment where I'm like it's where something like this has happened before, right? Like I've been here before. This exact moment, somebody's right there. Everything looks exactly like it did before. It's a weird. I don't know how to. I don't know. It's just like either this happened in like a dream or like something where I've seen this scene before. Somebody said that exact thing to me at this exact moment. The lighting was the same. Everything was the same. What I'm looking at.
It's interesting. I had a few of those shortly after this big mushroom trip I had. So I did mushrooms with my friend, And then after that, there were like 2 or 3 times where I had like crazy deja vu, and I was like, "Oh, I saw this on the mushroom trip."
Mm-hmm. Weird.
And it was pretty wild.
And that also kind of makes me believe in reincarnation too,
Yeah,
or
I
like
believe in
I've lived
reincarnation.
this life before. Like I've
Mm.
been here before. Like this has happened.
I got a pretty wild reincarnation story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to write a movie about it.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I don't know if I want to.
Yeah, you
put
don't have
this
to.
on the
Yeah,
internet
no, you're
yet.
good. You're good if you want to write it. Yeah.
I'll tell you, but I'll tell you off air.
Okay. All right. Well, oh, actually, we already got to one of my questions. I was just
look at that.
it was just why
vu.
just talking about like why are people basically the whole thing with Satanism in like the in like people with power, like famous Hollywood people. But also, this is the last question that I have. If you had a time machine, when would you go? Get it instead of where? When?
I like it.
Yeah.
When would I go?
When would you go, dude?
At what point in time would I go? What do I? Am I restricted to my own life or any
No.
time?
Anywhere, anytime.
I can go anytime, anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good question. I don't know if I could go anytime, anywhere.
I got one.
I don't know. I mean, everybody says, like, "Oh, I'd go back and kill Hitler." Blah, blah, blah,
Fuck that. That's fucking stupid. That's lame.
There's part of me that thinks that everything that happens is supposed to happen.
Right.
And I don't know if I would want to go back and fuck with things.
Okay, well,
And
let's
it's
say you're
hard
not
for me
going
to
back
be
and
like-
fucking with anything. You're in a bubble that nobody can see. You can't really
I
interact
can go
with
back
like
and just like see things
and just look and just
see what's going
observe. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
on. Ooh, now we're talking. Now we're cooking. Probably go back and check out the old boy Jesus Christ.
Really? Yeah.
If
see
you're
what-
gonna go,
yeah.
I mean, what could be more? That's what
Mhm.
everyone's been fucking. No one shut the fuck up about it for the last 2,000
That's
years.
true. That's actually
So
a good point.
You may
yeah.
as well be like, what the hell is going on
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
That would be my first.
Okay.
There's a couple other ideas
Yeah,
that come to mind.
for
but
sure.
Like, what's the number one thing
Yeah,
that
that
I
you'd
would
wanna
want to
do.
be like? Yeah, I met that motherfucker,
Mhm.
Jesus, and he wasn't mowing my lawn.
Yeah. What fascinates me, what I want to do if I had that option, do you know about all the stuff with LiDAR that they're discovering in like the Amazon rainforest and stuff? Like
I've
they're
heard,
discovering all the structures.
Joe Rogan talk about it.
Yeah, well, they're discovering all these structures with LiDAR. And back in what? I want to say it's like the 1500s when the conquistadors went over to like Brazil and they discovered, apparently this is what they claimed, they discovered that they met this really advanced civilization that lived in the Amazon rainforest with really like tall, sophisticated buildings and sophisticated like technology. And they wrote about this in their like journals or whatever, and then they go back to Spain and they told Spain about it, and everybody was like, Psh, "Yeah, right, for sure." And then 100 years passed; they hadn't, gone to the Amazon in like 100 years, and they go back, and there's nothing. There's nothing there. It's like all gone, and I think. Because now what they've discovered through LiDAR, with all the structures and all the foundations that they found in the Amazon rainforest, what they think happened was when the conquistadors met these people, they introduced them to all these diseases that they had no defense against, so they all died, and then the Amazon just ate it.
Conquistadors, diseases killed the ancient civilization.
Yeah, basically. And the Amazon, because everything grows so fast in the Amazon, that the city just got eaten. Like the civilization just got eaten and then there was nothing left. Like 100 years later. And I'd like to go see that civilization. At least go back and see what the fuck's up.
That would be a cool thing to go witness.
Mm-hmm.
I'm skeptical of the claims that Europeans brought these diseases that just killed all the natives around here.
You think? I thought that was mostly why they died off, was because of all the diseases that we brought.
Yeah, that's what they say. Again, I don't really believe the things that they say, not anymore. Well, like one of them was, we gave them these blankets with smallpox in them.
Right. I mean, I don't think that was on purpose.
What's that?
I don't think that was on purpose. I don't think we knew.
Well, no, I think I've heard that the blankets they didn't have smallpox. They just had like arsenic in them.
Oh.
Yeah, they were just like poisonous blankets.
Okay, well then they definitely did know.
Like, fucked up their skin. That's all it was. And all the other examples of diseases is like they would like enslave them or did all kinds of weird fucking fucked with their food and did all kinds of other shit that wasn't because there's also this other school of thought within the alternative space that diseases are not contagious. Like there's no such thing as viruses that go past.
I think at New Way we did talk about this. Yeah. I don't know if I agree. I feel like I feel like viruses are contagious because when I was like younger, my sister would get sick and then I would get sick with the same thing. So isn't that right?
Well, I mean,
contagion.
It would seem to be, but that's not necessarily the case. The theory is that you get sick and then you pass this particle to another person, and then inhaling or ingesting the particle is what makes the other person sick.
Right.
But that specific mechanism of transmission has never really been proven to actually happen.
Really?
Yeah.
Like how when people like cough, there's like little particles of blood that come out, and then like you
there's no
breathe that in, and that's not.
It's my understanding that there's never been a single study where they actually collect a sample and demonstrate that if somebody gets exposed to it, and they've done this experiment many times.
Really?
Yeah, like they'll take someone who's like super fucking sick with some virus, and collect their mucus and their snot, and they make another person like drink it and inhale it and shove it up their nose and all these other things, and they've time and time again that does not make the other person sick.
But is it because of their immunity? Do they have like a strong immune system, that other person?
Well, at least from what I understand from these papers, like nobody got sick. So is everybody immune? Why? How did they only pick immune people?
Right.
And all.
What are the odds of that?
Yeah.
Man. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Dude, viruses are fake. I don't.
Or I should say, never been proven to exist.
Yeah.
So probably fake.
Okay.
As far as
damn. I don't know if I can get behind that, Matt. I don't know.
Well, you can look into it.
Yeah, I'll have to. Okay.
Show me the paper where they find the particle and then demonstrate that it makes somebody sick.
Right. I mean, we honestly
you can find the medical school textbook that says that.
There was kind of a big experiment that happened a couple of years ago that kind of showed that nobody really got sick. So, that's a thinker, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Yeah. And the whole
well, okay, the other thing I should say, and these are the common rebuttals, like, what, so you're saying people never get sick? I'm saying, no, yes, people do get sick, but it's not because they passed around a particle.
Why do you think they got sick?
It's usually some combination of nutrient deficiency and exposure to a toxin. Right?
Okay.
So like they said, it was smallpox in the blankets.
Right.
No, it was arsenic.
Okay.
It's just a chemical, right? So for example, if I took a little drink of bleach right now and I got really sick, does that mean I got sick from a virus? So no, I ingested poison. So
right.
Yes, if you get exposed to poison, then that will make you sick.
And
every one of these viruses, AIDS, COVID, polio, you name it, every single one of them has to do with poor sanitation, the introduction of some new toxin, some new poison, and potentially a nutrient deficiency.
Damn. Because, I mean, I've gotten sick, but I don't know if I've ingested poison, but I guess I wouldn't
You
know.
absolutely would have. Yeah, it's not like you're drinking bleach.
Right.
There's a lot of things that can make you sick. The food that we eat will make you
That's
sick.
what I was getting at.
When I eat junk food for a couple of days in a row, you know, if I'm fucking binging on a bunch of crap, like I will get a stuffy nose and feel like fucking shit for a day or two until I start eating better and clear out my system.
That's a good point. Well, you want to do this video segment, dude? You want to see some videos I got curated?
Lined up? Okay.
Yeah. I don't have a remote for this TV, so there's a button on the side there. It should be on the bottom. Not on the bottom, but like on the side there. There should be a bunch of buttons, and then the bottom one of those buttons. There we go. Yes. I really need to get a remote. I say it every episode. I need to get a remote for this fucking TV. All right. Let's get fucking into it.
Who's Brian Jervis?
That's my dad. This is his computer. I didn't really feel like creating my own account. Okay, so this is just Instagram. There's a lot of fun stuff going on Instagram.
So many fun things.
Yeah, and so this lady, you know, she's having a bad day at work. You know, she's not having a good time. Okay, so the volume, yeah. So let's just see what happens here.
Oh no!
Luckily, it blurs out, but you get the yeah. So that's yeah. Look at her hand.
She gets her hand stuck.
Oh man, what are they even doing? Are they making like fences or something? Like what's going on? Yeah.
Twisting her around, she gets wrapped up.
Yeah, I think that lady's dead though. If I had to guess, you think she's alive? Yeah, no, probably not.
I think she's alive. I think she just has a severely broken arm.
Yeah.
Except I don't really know what the nature of that thing is.
Yeah.
That doesn't look like fun.
That's a bad day at work if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, not gonna have a good time.
Gonna have a bad time. All right, here's another one we got. So this guy, yeah, he's also just, you know, let's check it out. All right, so
the bungee wasn't connected to anything.
I think they forgot or so. I don't. But
oh my goodness!
There he goes. He disappeared.
Jesus!
Go.
There we go. All right.
That's fucked.
Damn. All right. Well, he's gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So that's
if I was gonna kill myself, that's kind of how I want to do it. I want to jump out of like a plane or something.
Yeah.
And I could at least fly for like a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But he was not.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted to kill himself. I don't know. I think he was just trying to have a
he had
fun
like
day.
a smile on his face.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, let's get this. I've been waiting 70 years
Yeah, right?
to try bungee jumping for the first time." Wow, even just looking at this, I'm like getting nervous. You know
Yeah,
what
I mean that's insane.
I feel like I'm at the edge of the cliff.
You ever see those fucking like parkour climber dudes that just climb up skyscrapers?
Right,
I'm like,
and they're doing flips right on the edge. I'm like, you are fucking crazy. And they climb up and they can. Woo! All right.
Yeah, it makes me sweat. It makes me fucking sweat.
I mean, a lot of them die too.
And this next clip is just a fun little. It's from the original Street Fighter, so it's really it's just a fun video.
Final round fight.
Look at these guys. They're going at it. They're having fun.
Why are they fighting?
I don't know.
What the fuck is this kind of technique?
So you can.
This was my favorite game.
So you can.
Don't know what's happening. Oh, we got him. All right. I don't think anything really happened. Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah, it was silly.
it's fun. It's a fun time.
Fun times.
What's this next one? Oh, yeah, this one I don't know how to feel about it. It's just, I mean, this guy is fucking insane.
700 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm
With
Mike
a
Birch.
deadlift.
Yeah.
Weighing 165, 65 years old. I'm gonna get 700 pounds to try.
Here we
This
go.
is for all the poor kids in the world.
There we go. All the poor kids in the world.
What does this do for all the poor kids? Smelling salts?
700!
Yeah. All back, dude. Holy. Also,
Thank you!
that noise was
Impressive.
that was a fun grunt. And as a former power lifter myself, that was
Yeah.
terrible form. That was.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
surprised he's still in one piece.
I mean,
Good for him though. He's
yeah,
doing it.
700 pounds. Holy shit.
Yeah,
a
dude,
lot of
I used to
fucking plates.
go to this gym way back in the day. There was this guy who would deadlift with the abs. He would load it up, and with the worst possible form you could possibly. And he walked like he was shaped like a C. You know what I mean? He was just bent over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you want to like try to do this correctly?
Also, dude, I mean, deadlifts in general are not great for you. They're not really
that's what
that
they
good.
say.
They're really not that good for you,
Yeah.
dude. You probably shouldn't. I mean, and as long as if you have like, even if you have perfect like form, it's still gonna fucking hurt. You know, it's gonna
Yeah.
fuck your back up to even a tiny degree. But like, you probably don't want that. I mean,
Yeah.
just do like squats or something. Do something else.
I do like a modified deadlift kind
Yeah.
of thing where I do it with. Number one, I do it with dumbbells,
Yeah.
and I do it with like one leg at a time.
Okay. Yeah.
So by having the weight like, just
Yeah.
burping into the
yeah.
mic. There you go. So I have 1 foot back and 1 foot forward, and the weights are next to the foot.
Gotcha.
So that way my back is not bent over.
Yeah.
Trying to lift it up, and when I do it like that, I don't feel shit in the back.
Yeah.
And by doing one leg at a time, I'm basically doing like half the weight.
Okay.
If you think about it, you know. So if I'm doing like 95 in each hand, that's what 190
Mm-hmm.
for just the one leg.
Yeah.
Now I'm not saying I can deadlift 400 because I'm not even
Yeah.
fucking close.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to. So it's the same way, like get that movement without putting your back in.
Yeah,
jeopardy.
in danger. Yeah, you should.
Mhm.
Because we used to do like RDLs, which is like it was like kind of just like a half deadlift. But even then, it was still like they would still like my coach would be like, oh, just do an RDL. So they would have us like load up the weight even more because it's like off the ground a little bit more. So you're
Uh-huh.
like you're not doing your range of motion isn't that much, but like still,
Okay.
yeah, it was still
Yeah, I
like,
guess if it's a little bit higher up,
yeah.
it's really that bottom portion
Yeah.
that's probably the worst part
Yeah.
for your back. That's when you're the most vulnerable.
Yeah. But yeah, that guy. I mean, props to him, dude.
Yeah,
Fuck, he's
alright,
64 years old.
He's doing a lot better than a lot
Yeah.
of 60-some years old. Year-olds.
And this next one, I saw it. It made me laugh. I thought it was a little silly. Little James Brown action.
Carolina police say that in the argument, it resulted, as a matter of fact, in Brown assaulting his wife with a lead pipe and firing a gun at a car that she was in. These are charges that Brown denies. He was released yesterday on $15,000 bond. He joins us from Atlanta to discuss the charges, and we welcome you, James Brown. How did all of this trouble begin?
Living in America. There's nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong at all. You're not in any difficulty, but you're out on bond.
No, I'm not.
Have all the charges been dropped?
Yeah, I'm out on love.
Hit his wife with a lead pipe.
Well,
Dude, he did
are
it in the
you
billiard
out on
room with the
love
lead
or
pipe.
out of love? Which is it?
Brown.
Out on love. Alone from night to night, you find me.
Now, James, this isn't the first time you and your wife have had a problem. Are the two of you going to be able to work this out?
Let's talk about some music.
You want to talk about music, and you don't want to talk about what happened?
No, it's all over.
Well, let's talk about your tour. When are you leaving?
We're leaving tomorrow.
And
I just
where are
like
you
how
going?
he's so like.
Rio de Janeiro and...
I mean, he's obviously high as shit,
Yep.
but he just doesn't. He doesn't even care. You know what? To be a rock star like that would be great. Did you see the nose I have?
Hold up, I want to see.
Oh, you're good.
Do you know if Joe is still a fucking new way? God damn it, I missed that.
Oh, I have no idea. What time is it?
6:38.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I guess we have been going for like an hour and a half.
No, let me text Paul real quick. You can cut this out on the
Okay.
podcast.
Hour 37. Okay.
All right, hopefully Paul put me down
Yeah.
if Joe's not there. All right, and we're back.
And we're back. But yeah, I mean James Brown, high as shit. Beat his wife and shot I guess at a car, and then I don't know, he's out on bond. So that's fun. Just
Yeah,
rock star
just
stuff.
living in America.
Just
That's what-
living in
America. There you go, living the dream.
it's funny. Okay. I don't
Look,
know.
if you can't beat your wife with a lead pipe, you know what the hell's the
can
point
you
of
do?
being an American?
It
Should be in the
America should be like a
Constitution.
game of Clue. It really should just be like
A game of Clue.
yeah,
Okay.
lead pipe,
Uh-huh.
James Brown, wife, clearly
in the living room.
yeah, of his penthouse. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, you want
She
to
was talking a little too much.
yeah, I mean, this is what you got to do.
Yeah. All right. Back to the Chinese lady getting.
Oh yeah, no, I don't know.
Yeah,
I just
we don't
went
have to
back
watch
to this
that
one.
again.
Yeah, no,
Just
let's not.
people getting
That's
fucked
terrible.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awful.
Yeah.
On this whatever Russian
Mm-hmm.
Instagram I'm on.
I was reacting to this Jervis .0.
Yes. Yeah.
There it is.
But did you ask? You should ask the Jewish nose a question, and then click it.
Jewish nose.
Yeah, click it to nose after you ask the question.
I did not even see this. Wait, there's a.
It's so Jewish.
Oh, it's the answer. Ooh, what are we gonna ask it? Is planet Earth flat? No. Fuck. Are you sure? Why not? Because you're the one answering. One more time. Is Earth a globe?
Thanks for watching.